Welcome to Financial Management. My name is Choi, or Choi. We meet every Monday from 11 till 12:15 in this classroom. And my office is in Gachon Hall, 805 Gachon Hall. Office hours will be from 2 to 4, from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon of Monday, or whenever I'm in my office, unless I am occupied with something else. You can always knock on the door, and if I'm available, I will invite you in. So feel free to stop by, and if you have anything to discuss with me, ask me or chat with me, feel free. Anytime you're welcome. There are 4 learning methods. Studying course materials such as textbook, which is this, Fundamentals of Corporate Finance by Ross, Westerfield, Jordan, Lim, and Tan, and suggested open courseware on internet. The ones I mentioned, Coursera or edX or KOCW, then doing exercise problems before attending classes. Of course, after classes, you have to work on those problems. Problems are very essential for you to learn financial management concept. Working on homework problems before and after each class is also necessary. Unless you work on problems, you will not be able to understand fully the concepts behind the topics. Every class, I will assign anywhere between 5 to 10 problems from the end of each chapter, and you will have to work on it. I'm not going to collect your homework. Your homework is for you to do homework. Homework is homework. And the solutions to the problems that I assign will be given to you on the web page, on the e-class bulletin board. I'll put out the solutions when time comes. You can check your answers with the solutions. Be sure to solve the problems yourself, by yourself, without looking at the solutions. And then check your answers with the solutions. That way you can learn. If you first look at the solutions and solve the problems, you will not be able to handle that problem. So solve first, and then check with the suggested solutions. Okay? Working on various segments of the group project in time for class discussion, which I will explain to you in a moment. Participating in discussions in class as well as on the class web bulletin board is very, very essential. If you have any questions, you can come to my office, but don't bother to come to my office if you have just a question. Put it up on the web bulletin board. What is this? Or can anyone tell me about it? And I want you to try to answer those questions. Of course, I will jump in and I will give you my answers, but do not wait for my answers to come. You yourself can help each other out. Okay? Sometimes student answers are better than professor's answer. And I'm counting on you. I know that you are all smart, and you will be able to help your classmates. We can make this class very productive by joining together in the discussion. Okay? We will discuss on the cyberspace on the webpage. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name you already know. I joined Gachon University 2 months ago. In January I came, so you are 1 year advance of me. You came to this school 1 year before me, so you are my 선배. So whenever I feel uncomfortable, I will ask you to help me, okay? Because you are 선배. Right? I was professor and at the same time vice president for global advancement at Handong Global University, which is located in Pohang, for almost 2.5 years. Before that, I was with the Bank of Korea as a Monetary Policy Committee member. Monetary Policy Committee, 금융통화위원회, that determines determines interest rate for the entire economy. I was an MPC member for 4 years, experiencing 2 global financial crises, Lehman global financial crisis and European debt crisis. And I think I was one of those people who served on the MPC with the most difficult tasks. The country was almost very close to the real financial crisis. We avoided it. And I was in the Monetary Policy Committee to help the country survive the crisis. Before I joined the Bank of Korea, I was with Seoul National University. I was professor there for 14 years. And when I was appointed to the Monetary Policy Committee, I resigned from Seoul National to give my position to someone junior to me. And I left Seoul National and went to Bank of Korea. And after Bank of Korea, I went to Handong Global University. I was with Seoul National for 14 years, as I said. And before that, I was in the US. Ever since I had my degree in 1980, I was with several US universities, including the State University of New York, SUNY at Buffalo. I was professor of finance there for 8 years. And before that, I was with Tennessee and Penn State and some others. I had my degree, a PhD degree from Penn State University, and the undergraduate as well as MBA from Seoul National University. Textbook, as I said, it's Rawls, Westerfield, Jordan, Lim, and Penn. Originally, it was Rawls, Westerfield, and Jordan. 3 people wrote this book, but 2 Singaporean authors joined. So this one has a little bit of Asian flavor. Okay? Some examples are Asian, and I think that will be pertinent for the students in this class. We can feel more comfortable or more acquainted with Asian cases than US cases. About grading and assessment. There will be 3 exams, 2 midterm exams and 1 final. And final exam will be given during the final exam period. And midterm exams are given on April 8 and May 6. Each one lasts 50 minutes for the midterm, and final exam 75 minutes in time. Since the dates are all fixed, except the final exam is during the final week, so there might be a little bit of change. But midterm exams are fixed. So I'm not going to allow you to to have any makeups. You pre-plan when you will be taking exams. Don't tell me that, oh, I have something else on that day. Too bad. I'm not going to take that excuse. Okay, academic integrity. I take back. Homework and projects. 30%. Project, I will explain to you in a moment. Class attendance and participation, 10% of the grade. Academic integrity. Honesty and integrity of the utmost degree are expected of all the students. Dishonesty and or violation of academic integrity will not be tolerated. This is a usual thing. You should be honest and you should have utmost degree of academic integrity. When I was with Handong Global University, I was somewhat surprised. The students there take their exams without any proctor. Professors come in and they hand out exams and professors walk out. And students, they don't cheat. Well, there were a couple of cheating incidences, but they were very heavily penalized. But students in general, as a whole, don't cheat. If they don't know, they just submit blank. If they know, they try hard. They don't want to take any assistance from their friends or from the books or from the cheat sheet. They're honest. And I think that same thing can be done here at Gachon University, especially global business track. I want you to have utmost degree of honesty and academic integrity. Okay? Once you are out of school, people will say that Gachon University students, they are credible. They are trustable. We can trust people from Gachon University because they are honest and they have integrity. We can do it, right? I want you to have this Gachon pride. Okay? People from Gachon will never lie. People from Gachon will never cheat. People from Gachon will never do anything that is against integrity of self, as well as the community, as well as the society. Okay? Let's do something that will make a change in this world with full of lies and dishonesty and lack of integrity. Okay? Let's make this world better by being honest and by being a person of integrity. Okay? I might even try on proctored exam. That I'll have to think about it, but you know how I feel. Okay, I want you to be just a man of or woman of integrity, okay? Man and woman of the honesty. Okay? I want you to have that trademark. We Gachon people are honest. We Gachon people are men and women of integrity. Okay. About group project. This is a tough one. One effective way to learn financial management is to get your hands dirty with an actual case. Here's a group project that will make you experience a real-life case. Form a group of 4 students, 2 6 students, no more than 6. 4 may be too few, and 6 may be adequate. And 6 students, right? Oh, by the way, all the presentation slides are available on eClass bulletin board. So you don't have to write it down. The important ones you make a remark, but you don't have to copy it. Form a group of 4 students, but no more than 6 students. Each student will choose one company, Just one company. Each student chooses one company. So even if you are working in groups, group members will choose different companies. Each student will choose one company, a non-financial corporation listed on a stock exchange. It has to be non-financial because financial companies are difficult to analyze, number one, and they are heavily regulated, so the financial decisions are influenced by regulations. And these days, financial regulations are so complex, and they are changing all the time. So rather than following this changing regulatory environment all the time, forget about the financial thing, non-financial. So stay away from banks, securities companies, insurance companies, asset management companies, okay? And stay with non-financial. And it has to be a listed company, listed on an organized exchange, such as Korea Stock Exchange, KOSDAQ, or it doesn't have to be Korean Stock Exchange. You can go to Japan and Tokyo Stock Exchange, China, Shanghai Stock Exchange, Hong Kong Exchange, or Singapore Exchange, or go to the United States and go to New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. It doesn't matter so long as you have access to their financial information. The companies chosen by the members of a group should have some common themes, for example, similar industries. I don't mean same industry, but distinctly different in terms of size, age, and location, etc. For example, if you choose Korean Air, there is only one listed company in Korea, that's Asian Airlines. You have 6 people, so unless you go abroad, taking U.S. The airlines or airlines in the U.S. or European or other countries' airlines, you can choose the leisure and entertainment industries as well. The airline and leisure and entertainment, they are loosely linked. Okay? Rental car business is okay too. Resort business is okay too. Hotel industry, that's fine too. So if you find any common theme in this, just go ahead. Stay away with, say, choosing one manufacturing company and one service company. You will be comparing the policies of the companies in the same group. And the manufacturing company financial policies are distinguished from the service company's financial policies. So stay with similar industries or industries with similar themes. Each student will submit a short project report for his or her company. In your report, you can discuss how your company's financial policies are similar or dissimilar to those of the companies chosen by your group members. Thus, you are expected to work together, but submit separate report. It's not written here, but the written report can be in Word format or PPT format. Okay, PowerPoint is okay, Word is okay, and you submit it through e-class the report section. Be sure to meet the deadline. Okay, there is deadline for each segment, and the deadline comes almost every week because there are 10 segments, and the other than midterm weeks, the deadline will come every week. So keep the deadline and upload it on the e-class report section. In addition, if you would like me to write comments, feedback on your report, you can submit a hard copy to me about the same time you upload your file. Then I will read and I will give you short feedback. And you can use the feedback to revise, and you can refer to it when you do the rest of the segments of the report. Okay, this is 10 project description. Description of the company, prepare simplified financial statements, give a description of bond issues by a company, description of the common stock, value of the growth opportunities, describe one of the major investment decisions, find the cash flows, find the cost of capital, describe the capital structure and dividend policies, and find the value of the firm. So this is a valuation exercise. Once you are done with this project, you will become much more comfortable in understanding how financial management is being actually done in a company. Okay? So I want you to put enough time to understand the flow of the themes, right?
Sir, there will be no limit to
Number of pages. For each segment, I will put down a one-page description, or 3 pages, or 4 pages. I will give you the length of the segment. So all in all, I think about 50 to 60 pages. So at the end of the class, you will have a portfolio of 60 pages, 60-page report of a company. And that you can use when you go for an interview. I say, I did this. You can do that. Okay, any questions or comments before we move on to the actual financial management? I haven't decided yet. I think it's a mix. She asked me whether or not the exam is in essays or in multiple choice. I said it's both. I haven't decided yet. Okay. This is a financial management framework. There are essentially 2 major decision makers in an economy which is closed. There is no overseas external factor, and there is no government. Okay, let's start with consumer investors, because you are consumers and you are also investors, right? You are consuming, right? As a user of a smartphone, you are consuming the communication services or information services. Right? By drinking coffee, you are consuming the food and beverages. Coming to school, you are getting educational services. Right? Every day we are consuming. Every day we are consuming. Consuming goods, cell phones, coffee, tangible things, they are called goods. And you're also getting services. Educational services, financial services, legal services, or hairdressing services, hairstyling services, and goods and services. You purchase them and consume them, and you purchase them from the markets for goods and services. There are markets for goods and services, sometimes physical markets for goods and services. And in the markets for goods and services, the firms, producers, or businesses, they produce goods and services. They They produce goods and services, and they market and sell those goods and services, which will be eventually bought and consumed by consumer investors. Where do they get the money? In order to consume, you have to have the money. Where do they get the money? Well, they work. They sell their labor services in the labor market. Through the labor market, they provide inputs to the firms, and the firms will combine this labor input and the capital input together to produce. And the products will be bought and consumed by consumer investors. Okay, any questions up to this point? Now, when firms produce, they need inputs. Labor input is one, and money, capital input is another. Capital input. Where do they get the capital input? From the financial markets. And financial markets consist of both financial institutions and capital and money markets. Financial institutions are, you're familiar with them, banks, insurance companies, securities companies. These financial services institutions, called financial institutions, will take the savings from consumers and put it to the money market or capital market, or place directly to the firms. That's the role of financial institutions. Consumer investors can make investments in financial instruments directly by buying bonds and stocks in the capital market, or buying short-term financial instruments from the money market. So all these markets, together with financial institutions, are called financial markets. And financial markets is the mechanism which channels consumer investors' investment and savings into investment into the firm. So firms use capital input and labor input to produce. So this is a production entity, and when they produce, the output of that will be bought and sold in the markets for goods and services, and this will be eventually consumed by consumer investors who use their labor income as the source of their spending. And if they have anything left over, they will put into savings and financial investments. So this closes the whole loop, okay, whole system. That's finance. Or that's financial environment. Okay, any questions? Okay? Now let's move to the next page. Financial markets, as I explained, consists of primary market and secondary market. This is one classification, and another classification is money market and capital market. Primary market is a market where the firm sells its securities to the public. What kind of securities do firms sell to the public? What kind of securities do firms sell to the public? You already know it because you've done principles of management. Securities. What kind of securities do firms sell to the public? Of course, corporations, companies, they provide jobs to the people like you. When you're done with the education, you go into the job market, and they will provide jobs. But that's not the securities that they sell. Securities, piece of paper. How do they get the money? Corporations, where do they? How do they get the money? Anyone? Anyone? Huh? From shareholders, and from bondholders. If there are shareholders, there should be bondholders. What do shareholders buy from the firm? Stock, common stock. They buy common stock, and they give the money to the firm. The firm uses the money to produce, right? So common stock is the security that the company sells. Bond also is issued by the firm and sell to the public. Okay? The market where the firm sells stocks and bonds are called primary market. Primary market. Secondary market is the market for the securities to be traded. Okay? To be traded. Common stock can be traded. Bond can be traded. Okay? People come and buy securities from someone else. What's your name? Yeah? 서인영? She buys common stock from, let's say, General Electric. And later on, I become interested in buying General Electric shares. I can buy from Inyoung. Okay? She can sell me her shares. That's done in the secondary market. But the secondary market is, how can I find a person who holds General Electric shares? She told me that she, unless she tells me that she has GE shares, I wouldn't know. So we go to the organized exchange. Of course, you don't go to organized exchange. You ask your stockbroker to buy shares, and stockbroker will go to the exchange and buy the shares, right? So the market where already issued shares and bonds are being traded are called secondary markets. Another classification of the financial markets is the money market versus capital market. Money market is for short-term securities, shorter than 1 year maturity, such as CDs, certificate of deposits, CPs, commercial papers issued by firms, treasury bills, some short-term securities. Capital market is where securities of long-term maturities are being traded, okay? Such as common stocks, corporate bonds, U.S. Treasury notes and bonds. Most of the bonds have maturity longer than 1 year, so they are capital market instruments. The ones that are shorter than 1 year maturity is called money market instruments. Now let's go to discuss financial management. This is interesting but difficult to understand. Okay, what is your name? What's your name? Yojumi. What comes to your mind when you hear the word finance? Money. Excellent. Your name? Yudong-hun. What comes to your mind when I say finance? Bank. What comes to your mind when you think of bank? Money. So money. Famous pop song of Abbas. Right? Why money comes up to your mind when someone says finance? Right? All of my friends, they all say that, what do you teach? I said, finance. Oh, you teach about money. Other than money, can you think of anything else? Finance, other than money. Nothing comes to your mind. Same with me. money is something that comes to your mind immediately. But Robert Shiller, Nobel laureate 2 years ago, in 2012, he wrote a book called Finance and the Good Society. Finance and the Good Society. I didn't put it as a required or suggested reading for you, but if you are interested, read this book over the summer vacation. This is a good book to read. Interesting book to read. You get new perspective about finance. Okay? He says something like this: finance is not about making money per se. It's not making money. Yochumi, you don't want. Money comes to your mind, but it's not about money. It's not about money making. It's much more than that. It's much more than that. It's a functional science in that it exists to support other goals, those of the society. Finance, the word finance, the origin is from Greek word called finis, F-I-N-I-S, finis. And the word finis has a meaning of finish, or the end, the last point, the end. And the word the end, in English word, the end, has another meaning. Another meaning is the target, end, objective, goal. So finance is about goal. Finance is about target. Finance is about objective. Whose objectives? Whose goals? Whose targets? Well, Bob Shiller is talking about societal goals. For the good society, finance is needed. Finance is the science of goal architecture. Goal architecture. Finance takes monetary resources, financial resources, human resources, material resources, intellectual resources, all those resources put together and mix them and modify them and to produce output for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of the community. That's fine. That's finance. So finance is, of course it is about money, but it's more than that, beyond money. It deals with how the society can benefit from all these resources. But these resources are put together to produce output. And that way, the society can become better off. So finance is a goal architecture of the structuring of the economic arrangements necessary to achieve a set of goals and of stewardship of the assets needed for that achievement. Okay? So finance, if it is for a company, it's corporate finance, financial management, the one we are interested in. If it is the goal of Gachon University, it's university finance. University needs finance too. For Gachon University to become premier university, it has to have finance. So finance is not just about making money. It is much more than that. If it is about the country, it's called public finance or government finance. It is about international relations. Yes, it is international finance. Finance is much more than that. Okay? It's not just about making money. It's not about greedy bankers. Sometimes finance is criticized for the misbehavior of greedy bankers. But it's not about greedy bankers. It is about the society. It is about the goal of the society, how to make this society better off, how to make this society more livable, how to make this society good society. We need finance. But for this course, we'll focus on corporate finance, companies, financial management. For the finance to be effective, it has to be goal-oriented. It has to be related to goal. So good sharing rule. For the goal to be effective, there has to be good sharing rule. We'll talk about this later. Institution-based. There has to be good institutions that support this. 60 years ago, Korea was almost nothing. Still, there are countries in Africa that have not escaped extreme poverty. 90% of the people are still starving with hunger, and they don't have good water, quality water to drink. They are living really the substandard way of living. And why they are living that way? They don't have institutions. They don't have institutions. Korea didn't have institutions. So 60 years ago, our grandfathers and grandmothers, they worked hard to create institutions. And with the institutions, we can finance can start working, start functioning. Self-sustaining system is also sought through finance. And we'll focus on finance for a corporation. That's why it's called corporate finance or financial management. What is financial management? Deals with major corporate decisions that have financial implications or valuation implications. And it provides answers to some important questions. And this will be repeated again and again and again and again because these are the three major decision areas of financial management. Number one is long-term investment decisions. Long-term investments. The company that I know of is interested in bringing new product to the market. And that new product to the market requires a lot of money. And that's investment decision. It has long-term effect. Once that the product is introduced, that will last for 10 years or more. And it has long-lasting implications. It's not reversible. Once you make that decision, you cannot go back. So it's an important one, long-term investment decisions. The second important function is how to finance the money to support this investment. You need the hundreds of billion won or hundreds of $1 million for this investment. And where do you get the money? It's called long-term financing. So long-term investment and long-term financing are the two critical elements of financial policies. On top of it, there is liquidity policy. Liquidity is something that can be explained in the following way. You are making liquidity decisions almost every day because for you, on a personal level, you have cash inflows and cash outflows. Some of you will receive money from your parents or your relatives, or some of you earn money by working, and you will use the money. The next time you get the money, you will have to budget your spending efficiently. Otherwise, you will have to starve. That's what I did when I was a college student. I used to teach young kids, and the next payment day comes, I always starved because I spent too much. Sometimes your cash inflows are not enough for cash outflows. Sometimes your cash outflows are not large enough so that you have accumulated cash. Okay? Cash inflows and outflows do not balance all the time. When there is imbalance between the two, what should the company do? Companies, they sell products and they receive money, and that money is used to pay the vendors, pay the employees' salaries and wages. Sometimes there is imbalance or mismatch. Then the company will have to borrow money or lend money. Okay, that's called liquidity management. So 3 essential areas: long-term investment decisions, long-term financing decisions, and liquidity decisions are the 3 key dimensions of financial management. Okay? Don't forget. It will be repeated again. Whether you like it or not, I will repeat that. Okay. Finally, project preparation. I already mentioned some part of it. Here's deadlines for the next 3 segments. The first one is not really a segment. From a group of at least 4, but no more than 6 students, each student chooses 1 corporation listed on the stock exchange, non-financial, not in financial distress, to analyze. It does not have to be a Korean corporation so long as you have access to the company's financial statements and or annual reports. You have to do this by Monday, March 9. That's a week from today. So by next Monday, you will have to have a firm idea of which company you will be analyzing. Okay? And that company, you will have to stick with it until the end of the semester. Okay? So choose the one that interests you the most. But before you choose that company, you have to choose your group members. And 5 or 6 people. Okay? 4 is too small. 5 or 6. But no more than 6. Okay? 6 people, you get together and you talk it out. What kind of industries or what kind of companies do we want to analyze? Okay? Do we want to limit the scope into Korean companies only or international companies as well? Okay, make a decision. Okay? It's up to you, totally up to you. Don't ask me. I will love to help once you decide which company to analyze, but don't ask me which one should I do. You decide. Okay? It's you decide. Right. Okay. You don't have to hand in anything. Okay. You just decide. But immediately after you decide, you'll have to work on the first segment. First, stay with me. Okay. Students in each group should work together. This is important. You have to work together. Okay? You can work alone, but the quality of work may not be as good as the quality of work that you work together. When I first joined Seoul National, almost 20 years ago, one student came to me and said, "Professor, I want to do it alone. I don't want to do this group project. I always have this free rider problem with other students. So I want to work alone, and I become more creative and more productive by being alone." I said, "No, work together." And he says, "Professor, I promise that I will do it well." He insisted so much. So I said, "Okay, but I cannot guarantee what kind of grade you will have." He had a C. He thought that he gave me an excellent report, but the quality of the report was so poor. If you work together, quality of your work will be much better than the quality of work you can have by working alone. Another reason why you have to work in group is the following. This project has 10 segments, and due date for each segment comes every week. Once you fall behind, there's no way you can catch up. Once you fall behind, that's the end of it. No way you can recover. The only way to stay with the schedule is to stay in one group together. Group members, they work together. Anyone watch the movie Gladiator? Gladiator? Many of you watched. Don't feel bashful. Gladiator, in the movie, there's a scene that gladiators were placed right in the middle of the arena. And then they were given only light weapons like swords and shields. And circling them were chariots with heavy weapons. And Russell Crowe, the gladiator, he told his comrades, stay with me, stay together, we stayed together, and they survived, right? I'm repeating that, stay together, okay? Stay with your crew members. That's the only way you can successfully complete this project. This project is quite involving, okay? So you have to work together. You have to be good friends with each other, right? To discuss what to do, each student should submit, this is the first segment, by Wednesday, March 11. That's a week from this Wednesday. One-page description, just one-page description, whether it's Word format or PPT format. Once you use the PPT format, use it throughout. Word format, use it throughout. Okay? Of the companies, its name, industry belongs to, the list of senior management. By this I mean CEO's name. Okay? The stock exchange where the stock is listed, the listing date, its stock price, recent dividends and earnings for the last 3 years. Stock price for the last 3 years. I don't mean every day. I mean year-end stock price. Okay? For the company. Do this by Wednesday, March 11. Okay? Now, each student should submit simplified financial statements, common-size financial statements, and some major financial ratios. The due date for this is Wednesday, March 18. So every week there will be due date for segments. So be sure to meet the deadline. If you don't meet the deadline, you will be penalized for your grade. But the penalty is nothing compared to your inability to move together with my lecture. That's a greater penalty. So stay with the group members and stay with me. All right, we are done. Questions, comments? We have 7 minutes. You can use whichever language you prefer. Different company.
Different company, but only one city, which is one. So in that group, which is only one company, and
No. Each one, he's asking whether or not one group submits one report. No, it's not. Each student will submit one report.
one report for all different companies, or
One report of one company.
so on Monday we'll choose one company, and on Wednesday we'll give you all different assignments, but for one company.
No, different companies. So you choose company A, you choose company B, he chooses company C. All right? D and E and F. Okay. Next Wednesday, I would like you to submit 6 different descriptions of the different companies. You work in groups, but you don't submit group report. There's no group report. Yeah, you can share your information. Okay? Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes. 예, 영어로 써야 됩니다. 우리말로 써도 된다고 생각할지 모르지만 그러면 안 되고 영어로 써주세요. 영어로 써주세요. 그리고 오늘 강의한 내용하고 다음 주에 강의할 내용은 이 클래스에 강의 자료실에 올라갔어요. 그리고 매주 금요일 날 내가 앞으로 강의할 3주치는 항상 올라가 있도록 만들 거예요. 그러니까 미리미리 공부하고 오는 게 좋을 겁니다. 또 질문, questions, comments. 파이낸스는 쉽게 배울 수 있는 길이 있고 어렵게 배울 수 있는 길이 있어요. 어떤 길로 가고 싶어요? 쉽게 배우는 길로 가고 싶죠? You stay with me. 그럼 쉽게 가르칠게요. 쉽게 배울 수 있게 할게요. 영어로 강의하기 때문에 좀 힘들어하는 사람이 있을 수도 있어요. 근데 영어 강의는 오늘 수준보다 더 하진 않아요. 오늘 수준 정도의 영어 강의니까 영어 강의는 들어서 할 수 있도록 노력을 해주세요. 그리고 영어가 네이티브 랭귀지가 아니면, 네이티브 텅이 아니면 다 틀려요. 나도 많이 틀려요. 나도 나중에 강의 들어보면 창피할 거예요. 아휴, 내가 저렇게 영어를 못하나? 그런데 그거 상관없어요. 아니, 외국 사람이 영어를 이 정도 하면 됐지. 그러니까 여러분도 그 생각하고 부끄러워할 필요 없어요. 부끄러워하거나 그래서 입을 안 열면 영원히 못 열어. 그런데 여러분이 졸업하고 실제로 사회에 나가서 일을 하기 시작하면 여러분이 일할 때는 전 세계가 오픈 소사이어티예요. 이제는 한국에서만 있을 수가 없어요. 이제는 외국 사람들과 경쟁을 해야 되는데 우리가 한국 사람들끼리만 경쟁하는 걸 생각하고 여기서 아무당하지 말고 이제는 외국 사람하고 당당히 맞서서 경쟁할 수 있는 그런 능력을 갖춰야 돼요. 근데 랭귀지는 뭐 못하는 건 못하는 거지. 그런데 영어를 못해도 내용을 잘 알면 얼마든지 인터내셔널 세팅에서도 일을 할 수가 있어요. 서울대학에 있을 때 학생들을 교육을 시켰어요. 그래가지고 세계 사례 경진대회에 내보냈는데, 내 말 좀 들어주세요. 세계 사례 경진대회에 내보냈는데 가서 1등을 했어요. 4명을 보냈는데 4명이 영어가 네이티브인 사람은 아무도 없었어요. 아무도 없었어요. 그런데 똑똑하기로 정말 똑똑했냐? 똑똑했어요. 똑똑했어요. 그런데 여러분하고 비교해서 특별히 더 똑똑한 건 없었어. 평범한 학생들이었었어요. 그런데 가서 1등을 하더라고요. 영어도 못하는데 나중에 프레젠테이션 하는 걸 보니까 정말 버벅거리면서 프레젠테이션 했는데 무슨 사례를 가지고 했냐면 스타벅스 사례를 가지고 발표를 했어요. 근데 스타벅스 회장이 앉아있다가 무릎을 치면서 니들이 진짜 맞았다. 자기가 의사결정한 게 틀렸다는 얘기를 고백할 정도로 좋은 내용을 발표했어요. 알면 돼요. 그 내용을 알면 영어 못해도 전달이 돼요. 영어를 아무리 잘해도 내용을 모르면 전달 안 돼. 그러니까 여러분들이 이 과목을 공부를 하면서 내용을 충실하게 알 수 있도록 노력을 좀 해주기 바랍니다. 거기 내가 필요하면 언제든지 나한테 그 얘기를 해주세요. 여러분들이 그 국제 해외 시장에 나가서도 늠름하게 경쟁할 수 있도록 만드는 게 내 이번 강의하는데 목표거든요. 우리 같이 한번 만들어 가보도록 합시다. 오케이, 오늘 이걸로 마치겠습니다. 네. 여기에 조교가 이제 올 텐데
저쪽 사무실에
이쪽 OCW 사무실에서 조교가 오면
네.
그 조교의 인계만 해주면 돼요.
이거 제출하는 거 이클래스로 제출하는 거. 근데 그게 만약에 CE의 인증서에 이런 게 없어요. 그러니까 윗기업이 없고, 그러니까 만약에 윗기업이 없고 가장 독자적인 이런 코퍼레이션들 있잖아요. 그런 것들은 그런 거 쓸 필요 없죠. 그냥 네임하고 랭크 그 스탑 얼마냐 이런 거만 쓰면 돼요.
이번에
한 장 정도가
네.
그 분량을 그냥 그 질문 중에 몇 개를 선택해서만 그냥 쓰면 됩니다.
아니 다 거기 있는 내용은 다 써야 되는데 너무 많은 걸 쓰려고 하다
생각
보면
같은 거 필요 없고.
가능하면 PPT로 내는 게 좋을 것 같아요.
갈때 같이 가요.
늦게 온 사람한테 이름 주고 가. 박지성. 설아구나. 오늘 전화왔어. 상관없어. 하여튼 이 클래스에 일단 이름이 올라가요. 이름이 올라가면 그 다음에 내가 해줄 수 있지만 이름이 올라가지 않은 상태에서 안 되지. 그거 안 했다.